Hey everybody, this is Kyla here from Waveflow, the mindfulness practice that creates ripples of acceptance, meaning, and appreciation. This month I'm hosting a 10 days of gratitude program in celebration of my new gratitude journaling workbook, Ripple. Today we'll hear a conversation with my friend Tori. You know when you meet those people that just get it and they are on your same wavelength? That is Tori. We chatted about making the jump to move across the country, people in our lives who have made a significant impact on us, and celebrating ourselves. Enjoy our conversation and don't forget to try the Waveflow practice for yourself. I'll drop all of the prompts in the notes, and I invite you to try out Waveflow's free mobile app or grab a copy of my workbook, Ripple, to discover layers of possibility and meaning making through a month-long commitment to the practice. Okay, enjoy my discussion with Tori. Hi, everybody. I'm here with my friend Tori. And Tori and I actually met at Baptiste, which is the yoga studio that I teach at in the Presidio in San Francisco. And Tori just like radiates good energy. I don't know how else to say it. And I feel like we kind of connected, like, I forget which class it was, but you were like, oh, I live in New York. I'm like here visiting someone who's working in New York, or working in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And like now so much in your life has changed.
It's been a whirlwind. I mean, in the best way possible. And I think that's kind of the phase of my life that I'm in, is like beginning again and not really knowing what that looks like and being comfortable saying yes to whatever. I mean, I said yes to Baptiste this morning. I said yes to a run club, and I was like
Oh,
pretty much last, but just like saying yes, whatever. I got humbled.
all right, there we go. And Tori and I connected over the fact that like I felt like I also moved to San Francisco kind of like I loved New York. I was like, what am I doing moving to San Francisco? Like I'm giving up this like place that I love and people that I love. And like, yeah, it's like sometimes in order to like grow and change, you have to like try something different. So Tori, thank you for being game to do this. I haven't seen Tori in a while, so this will be a fun one because we'll get to catch up through the practice of Waveflow. And we'll start with our first question. Where is your favorite place to go exploring outside?
Hmm. I'd say, I know this is going to sound corny, but I think what drew me to San Francisco is obviously it's in California. My dad lives in Los Angeles. So um, honestly, California, because I'm a mountain girly, yet I also like the ocean. So honestly, just like being with my dog in Crissy Field and also just exploring. I love the Marin County area. Anything to do with outside. Seeing water and mountains at the same time is like chef's kiss.
Could you share what Crissy Field is for someone who might not have been there?
Yes. Thank you for that. Crissy Field it's actually a short walk from my apartment, and it's a little, I guess Crissy Field slash Crissy Field Beach area is what I would say. It actually like looks directly towards the Golden Gate Bridge. So it's just gorgeous when Carl the Fog's not there, obviously. And just to look out and see like, wow, I live here. I'm very grateful for that. So I like being outside.
Whenever I go for a run there, and I completely agree with you, it's like one of my favorite places to be outside in the Bay Area. I feel like I'm in a background, like a screensaver. Like, I feel like growing up, that was like the screensaver was like that image of the Golden Gate Bridge. And then I'm like, damn, like I could be having like a very bad day and I'll go for a run there and I'm just like, wait, I'm in a screensaver.
It it actually has been my screensaver before. So go figure. But I feel like immense gratitude to be able to walk to it and spend time and just like be with other. I've met so many, speaking of moving to a new place, like the amount of people I've met going there and like that same vibe of wanting to be outside and enjoy it. There's usually similar people that stroll through that area. So I'm very grateful. And that is probably one of my favorite current places to be.
Okay, so for me, this is honestly like this is kind of a weird answer, but what came up was so I spend a lot of time with my two very small children, and I feel like in the past 3 years, I've become a connoisseur of playgrounds.
Ooh.
And like Tori, like because also I have like my toddler is a boy, and I think he's a boy who like loves to like run a race. He wants to run around. He wants to go
Mm.
down every slide and like do everything on the playground once, but then he's bored of it. So I think like I feel like I constantly have to up level my playground game. And it's been cool because like living in an area where I didn't grow up, like every playground is like a new thing for me. And I get to like I like literally make like Google Maps with pins of like where my favorite playgrounds are. Like I'm that parent, I'm insane. And I've had a lot of fun just like seeing all the different types of playgrounds there are, and then like how he like likes them or doesn't like them. And a particular favorite, and this is like so weird because this playground is old, it like badly needs to be renovated, but in at Stinson Beach, which is this awesome sandy beach that's like
Mm-hmm.
25 minutes from my house, there's like a beautiful beach you can go like do the beach thing, but then with toddlers like that gets old after an hour sometimes. So I'll take them like 5 minutes away. There's a playground, and it has this really fun like to like a tunnel in the playground that's made of plastic that's transparent, so you can like
Mm.
bang on it and the kid can like see your hand. And we have this game that we play now that's called like the bang bang game, and it's like really the silliest thing, but like he'll be like, "Mom, like do bang bang," and like he just thinks it's so funny. And I feel like I don't know who built this playground, and obviously it was a long time ago, but I'm just like, oh, I'm so thrilled they like thought to build that clear tunnel, because also when the kids go in those tunnels, you're like, you can't see what's going on. There's older kids, you're like, what the hell is going on in there? So I feel like I love the clear tunnel at this Stinson Beach playground.
That is,
um,
I love how specific it is. And also, like to your point, whoever created that, thank goodness that there's people out there that are like way smarter than I am that have thought things through so intensely. And for that reason, I'm sure they're like, okay, the parents can actually see their child and play
yeah,
back.
like genius, right?
Genius. Genius.
Um, okay, we'll move on to our next question.
Wait, I will say one thing. I would be remiss to not mention that I went to camp for, I think not 10 years, 9 years, overnight camp. I'm from Chicago. I'm from the Midwest. I don't know if you hear my little Midwest twang in there. But I went to an overnight camp called Camp Agawak. It is like one of my favorite places in the entire world. Um, there's like the waterfront and the blob, and then I like to go sailing and canoeing and playing sports and the beach volleyball. And it's just like, it's my safe haven. I actually haven't been maybe in 2 years. So I like to go back with all my camp friends, and I'm still close with like tons of camp friends. So I just like being a little kid. I love the outdoors.
It's so sweet. There's something about like you're saying, was it Agawam? What was it called?
Agawak, yeah.
Agawak. Like when I feel like you get, or for me, it's like I got so close with some of those camp friends because
Mm.
it's so simple. Like you're just spending time outside. There's no screens. There's no like distraction. So it's almost like you can connect with the people on like a deeper level.
Oh, like if you brought a phone to camp, like they take your phone away, and then the next thing is they kick you out. So no phones.
Not
But
messing
exactly
around
what you
up there in
said.
the Midwest. Yeah.
Yeah. The northern all the way north of Wisconsin called Minocqua, Wisconsin. Great place.
There you go, everybody. We'll check it
Yeah.
out for Ani in a future year. Okay. Share about a non-parent figure who is a memorable role model for you as a child.
Well, it like transitions right into from my camp thing right into why I also love camp so much. So actually my great uncle, so my grandpa's sister's husband, great uncle, I'll give that little share, um, actually owned owned and directed a boys camp like 30 minutes away in Eagle River, Wisconsin. And he was larger than life. He actually, rest in peace, passed away a little over a year ago. His name was Dennis Rosen. Everyone called him Denny. Actually, they called him Mad Dog because he is just a freak of nature in the best way possible. I say that with so much love in my heart, because he's like hard on kids and would be hard on people in the best way. Like he had really high standards for kids and made sure that they were engaging with other people and kindly and not using drugs or using their phone at camp. They're just really engaged with other people. And he actually, years ago, he was supposed to become a doctor, and then he was like, no, I love connection and kids and raising kids to be like good people. So he transitioned his career as a gym coach and a wrestling coach, and went to camp on a whim because he saw like a listing on a bulletin board, like, I don't know, 60 years ago. Um, and it changed the entire trajectory of his life. And long story short, my favorite quote from him is, kids don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. So he's just been like an instrumental figure in my life, and just seriously, like, to his core, a really good, genuine, caring person. And it was standing room only almost at his funeral, because there were so many people's lives that he touched. So I just look up to him, and that's what he taught me: honest, strong, brave, and true. And I save it in my little wallet and look at his quotes every day. So he's rest in peace, Denny.
Wait, give us that quote about caring one more time. That was so beautiful.
It's so simple, but it's so true. So kids excuse me, kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I know, like, come on.
Wow. That's
I mean, as
beautiful.
I'm not even a mom, and you're a mom, so you're probably like, wait, whoa, I care
That's
a lot.
I like would even expand that though and say like people don't care how
Totally, totally. Transition to people for sure. Let me open the door for my dog.
Oh.
We're back.
Okay, for me,
Yeah, how about you?
what came up first, and this is also just like it feels almost random, but I'm gonna go with it. So I had a history teacher in high school, and I think her name was it was something like Mrs. Hitchings or Hitchens or something. I feel bad
Mhm.
not remembering it, but
Mhm.
so I must have been a junior, so like 11th grade, and she was my history teacher.
Mhm.
And this teacher was intense. Like she wasn't like a warm and fuzzy embracing teacher. It was like she was intense and almost like quiet in a way, if that makes sense. Like so
Mm.
kind of like the opposite maybe of how my energy is when I go into a room. And there was something very I think what it was actually is like she was a good listener.
Mm.
And something about her teaching, like it made me want to be better at the class because like I wanted to like show like that I was working really hard and like gain her like approval. And she was just like a lovely person and like so like you're saying how your great uncle impacted you like so caring.
Mhm.
And like I went on even after that to like because I remember we were studying American history, so like we were going like deep into American history. 11th grade in or at least where I'm from in the US was kind of like a stressful year because you're taking all these standardized tests that when I was younger that was like how that would basically like dictate what bracket of like university you were eligible to go to. And like I remember that year being like pretty intense. Like there wasn't a lot of like fun stuff happening. It was like mostly studying. And um yeah, like she just stood out for me as like made me want to do so well in the class. I like got so into the history that I ended up in college like double concentrating in American history because she made me like interested in it in a new way. And I like there was no reason for me to like double major in history. Like it wasn't gonna get me a job as far as I knew. Like, and it's so wild, but I like ended up like just really like deepening my sort of like interest in almost like how our culture came to be how it is.
Mm. Mhm.
Yeah, so she just like stands out for me as someone like because of like who she was, like made me more interested in the topic because I don't know, like something about her ability to listen like really resonated with me in a big way.
Mm. I love that.
Um, oh, bless our
I'm like obsessed with how it takes just like one person like in your life to kind of push you or say like, you're really good at this, or I'm so proud of you. You should be so proud of yourself because look how X, Y, and Z. And then it can change the trajectory of your life.
Oh,
I
totally.
was talking to this
Yeah.
girl she had a harp necklace on. I'm like, oh, I like your harp. She's like, yeah, actually, I had a harp teacher who like believed in me, and and she used to teach in a Montessori school. Now I teach in a Montessori. I'm just like, whoa, you know what I mean? It's just like, just that little like encouragement. I think that's the beauty of life, is when you can really have people like empower you, and whether it's a parent or not. It's really cool to hear it. Usually when it comes from someone else, it's like, oh, they actually like see this in me, you know? I love
Yeah,
that.
almost sometimes I think has to be a non-parent.
Mm-hmm.
Because like that, it's almost like, yeah, there's like a step removed from like the household dynamics. Okay. What
Great
is
questions. I love these. They're fun.
it's a fun one, right? To like
So
honor
fun.
someone who's made an impact.
So fun. I could name so many other people too, by the way, but that's who always comes to mind right away.
Yeah, it's just whatever bubbles up right now. What's something unique that you've sought out this month?
What is something unique that I have sought out this month? So it's two pronged. It's funny. I always make this excuse for myself. Like I have so many thoughts and ideas and things going on. It's like, how can I lean into that? I like have leaned so deep into yoga, and I'm like, okay, I haven't ran in 2 years because I hurt my leg. Why don't I just try the run club? So I tried the run club. And then after that, I'm like, oh, maybe I can spin on Wednesday, and just like changing it up, and again, like beginning again and being a beginner at something. Like sometimes that's like the hardest part. And for yoga, specifically for Baptiste, I was just like, I will be such a beginner at the beginning, and that's how it's going to be. And now I've like expanded my practice so much. I feel way more confident, and like I've met cool people, aka you, and have just fell into the 40-day program and then fell into the yoga teacher training program. And it's just, you gain confidence in testing other things instead of just writing it down on a list to maybe potentially do in the near future, or maybe not ever get to. Like, just do it. Um, and another thing I will say is, long story short, is I met these Hasidic Jewish people on a plane 3 years ago. And we were just talking, and I was like, wow, I'm I'm Jewish actually. And they're Jewish too, obviously. We were just talking, and they invited me to Shabbat, like an hour and a half north of New York. So my boyfriend Connor and I went, and to present day now, they're some of our closest friends. We've spent several Shabbats with them. We go to kosher meals with them. And now every Sunday we've been doing like, I wouldn't say Torah reading. It's like Torah understanding. It's like life lessons almost. Um, and it's been such a blessing in my life. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm so spiritual. It's like, but why? Like, there's ways in which like I'm not terminally unique, and there's people years and years and years ago who have studied and had all these life lessons. So that is something unique that I've sought out this month. Maybe I think it started last month, but it's really been such a blessing, and like understanding of humanity almost, instead of trying to learn on my own about it. So that's I would consider that unique.
It's so interesting that you said that because it's so I went last it was like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I went to Seth. We had a visiting teacher do a sutra study workshop, and for all
Hmm.
the years that I've been teaching, like I have to say I'm probably there's a lot more leaning into I could do into like the ancient traditions of yoga.
Mm.
Because the stuff that I've studied has been more either like medical based, or like it hasn't gone into necessarily the more like philosophical ancient
Mm.
part of the practice. And in a similar way to you're saying that like the Torah for you is like obviously like an ancient, aka like very old
Hmm.
scripture, like the Yoga Sutra of it's the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali is similarly like a very old text that
Hmm.
isn't religious, but it's definitely spiritual. And there is there's almost something so for me like it was interesting because there was something so freeing about like coming to the understanding that like a lot of these themes or ideas that I'm trying to either like put into practice on a weekly basis or like remind myself of, they're not necessarily new. It's just like the way that I apply them each day is new. And I'm
Mm,
sure maybe there's something similar in the Torah, or like I grew up calling it like the Old Testament, which I think
mhm.
is somewhat similar. So
Yep.
it's like the ideas, even though they're old, like there's value we can extract in them that we can draw from, that like people for, I don't know, however many hundreds of thousands of years have also derived inspiration from. Yeah.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think something. Yeah, so I guess that was this month. The other thing unique that I'm seeking out this month is like being willing to accept support so that I can grow.
Mm,
And I struggle with that a lot because like so last week was the first week that my daughter started her daycare like full time.
mm.
So before that I had her like part of the week and the daycare, which is like amazing. Thank you Marcia and Julia who run it, but it like took something for me to be like, okay, I'm gonna like fully enroll her in the full week program so that I can like open up some space to do other things for myself. And I feel like there's a block that I actually have to get over. Like each time we, hire someone to outsource things, whether it's childcare or like stuff with cleaning in our house, like there's some like resistance that I have to being like, well, I could do this. Like, why aren't I just doing this? And I have to like get real and be like, well, if I want to do other things, like I have to have someone else help me with this. So I feel like one thing I've sought out this month in particular is like just being willing to like try to let other people help more so that I can like free myself up a little bit to like grow, instead of like repeating the same things over and over. And that's a practice. Yeah. So, okay, we'll move on to our final question.
I love that.
It's about a time.
I love that for you.
Thank you. It's definitely, ooh, um, the mom life story. It's
The mom
relentless.
guilt. I don't know. I'm not, again, I'm a
Yeah.
mom of a dog, so that's way different.
I mean, it's not that different. I don't think a little different, but not totally.
Get
All
it to
right,
a
tell us
degree.
about a time you received gratitude that was meaningful for you.
Huh, this one's catching me. I think it's actually interesting how it's catching me because I think it just goes to show how hard I am on myself and like receiving the gratitude. So I'm like, okay, I have done some nice things. Okay, people say that, whatever. It's actually really hard for me. So maybe this is what I needed. I would say, so actually, I'll go somewhere with this. My When I moved from New York, I like kind of uprooted my career, trying to figure it out. I was like, hey, I can't lead a sales team in New York anymore because that doesn't make sense. I'm literally not physically there. So I kind of transitioned and used the yoga as the yoga teacher training in the 40 days as a means to get real and aligned with what I really want to do. And at the root and core of that is helping people. And I know like everyone probably feels that way, like pretty deeply. But I was like, how can I really truly help people? And so I kind of been using my yoga teaching certificate to be more of a health coach or just work with people who want to get out of the house and move their body a little bit one on one. So I've had a lot of gratitude come my way. Um, it's real, like it's hard for me to even say this because I know people are gonna see it. But it's been really, really special to hear feedback and say, you made my day, or I haven't been outside in a few days, and if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have gotten outside. So just little gratitudes here and there. It's really what fills my heart.
Oh, yeah, and it's like I agree. Like there's something about obviously I've been doing the Waveflow flow practice now for a few years, so I'm like a little more comfortable with it, but it's so like there's resistance to like we're supposed to be humble and like not like
Mm,
float, and I think like it's gone so far to the other end of the spectrum where people are like unwilling to like acknowledge themselves, and like the inner critic voice is so all consuming that I think it's like a healthy practice to bring us back into center, to like pat ourselves on the back every once in a while. Like, yeah, girl, like you did that 200-hour teacher training and now you're actually freaking helping people with it. You go. um Okay, for me, a time I received gratitude that was meaningful. So there's a friend I had from New York, and who I knew through, I used to work at Soul Cycle, and she was a person who would take the classes, and then it just so happened that her husband, for a long period of time in New York, I think he was my husband's boss. So I like then also knew her through like those both circles. And when I had Graham, at that point we had moved to California. It was a few years later. And my like birth experience with Graham was like rather intense. It didn't go smoothly. He came super early. Like everything about it completely rocked my world. And the day after we got home from the hospital, which we were there for a long time, we got home and I was like, oh my God, like the rug had been pulled out from underneath me. I got this box in the mail from my friend, and it was like it's not like she's like my best friend, so it wasn't like I was like expecting her to like, you know, be like checking in. And she had sent me this like really just kindly curated box of like things that comforted her after she had like a few kids that she had her kids. Yeah, and her name's Catherine Bristol. I need to text her after this, but it just like was what like the card and everything that came with it was like what I needed to hear at the right time. And I felt like so seen and so supported and so like, I don't know, like connected, even though like having a kid can be an isolating experience. You're like, what the hell just happened? So I think that was one where I was just like, oh my God, like thank you so much for her for like you know, telling me like congrats in this like really meaningful way. And it's something that I also now try to obviously pay forward. But yeah, that was the time when I was just like, oh my God, like I was so appreciative and like, yeah. All right, Tori, thank you for being willing to sit in the hot seat with me today, midday.
I'm grateful for you for thinking of me. And I get to see your face for more than a few minutes saying hi and bye in the yoga studio. So
Exactly.
thank
Yeah.
you.
All right, y'all, if you got anything out of this, check out Ripple, our new workbook, 31 Days of Gratitude Journaling. And Tori, where can people find your health coaching info?
Well, Kyla, I actually am working on my website, but I'm accessible via Instagram always,
Okay,
unfortunately.
I'll drop her Instagram in the notes as well as the prompts if you want to try this for yourself. We'll see you when we see you. Have a great day, everybody.
Love you, Kyla. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.